Under the martial law, all the citizens' freedom and basic human rights including assemblage, association, freedom of speech, publishment, and traveling are restricted in order that the government could manage the society more conveniently during the Chinese Civil War. With some related laws, the government arrests members from the Communist Party of China and people having different opinions of politics, and imprisoned, executed, and tried them by the military law. During the period, many Taiwanese suddenly disappeared and constantly occurred to plenty of injustice incidents, called Taiwan White Terror, which enforced to against the Communist Party of China, actually used to eliminate people with different views and consolidate their leadership. The government prosecuted and judged people criticizing or objecting to land as a crime of incitement overthrow the state, and extended the penalty excessively.
Detention is a movie adapted from a video game telling about a dark time of Taiwan. Under the martial law in a windy night, Fan, a girl who studied in Cuihua Senior High School as a student, woke up in a dark classroom and found it where there were few people in campus, and gradually reminded of the tragedy that had happened. Chang, the art teacher as well as the teacher counselor, held a study club, reading some forbidden books in the storage, and the members, including the music teacher In and a student called Wei, and so on. However, their action at that time is quite critical. On the other hand, In introduced Fan to Chang because her study was influenced by her family discord, hoping Chang could help her through the tough time. Unfortunately, they fell in love with each other, and Ying suggested that Chang to be careful of Fang would be dangerous. However, Fang didn't know the reason, but thought Ying tried to separate her and her lover, so she reported the club. All the members of the club, including Chang, were arrested, some of whom were excused, and some of them died in the torture. Even the volunteer lending the key to the storage for the club was killed. In the end, Chang noticed where to live and remembered that everything they owned was not easy, because freedom will finally come. Later, Chang was shot and Wei took his advice to confess his crime to keep his life. Finally, Feng felt guilty and suicided to apologize to the people died because of her.
Not only talk anything we want, but also read a book we like nowadays. It's hard to imagine a previous life which prohibits people thinking in many ways. However, what a shame that most of us can treasure the thing which is too easy to obtain, because we are in free life these days, so we are able to receive many news far and near easily. If we just for the sake of convenience or follow suit, we will lose the chance to listen someone's heart which is different to us. As noted above, although we are not controlled by the government, we also abandon the freedom of conscience. And this just like our thinking are controlled by the information provider, then become their puppets gradually. Perhaps this is just the reason why teachers supposed to take a risk to hold a study group in order to let the students think critically, and let them know not all the information they hear is all the truth.
I think freedom is just like air. We not find a variable until we are harder to breathe. In addition, there are many kinds of freedom include physical, thought, and choice. As teacher Chang say, there is half of life to weigh. He can choose to die absolutely at that time, but he decides to live unpainfully. For why? The answer seems obvious. Freedom is. Because he can tell people the truth of history. Also convey the idea about freedom is hard to combine. On the other hand, if he chooses to die, it's quite rational because of humiliation. Any of choice is understandable. Although fan report study grew irony, Chang forgives her and even not mad at her at all, admitting mistakes. As we have to face genuinely ourselves, so as to let almost on. Ultimately, Chang tells Fan who is depressed, there is nothing wrong with you. It's just like a people who is tortured to extract a confession, but has no choice but to plead guilty, saying,
Have you forgotten, or are you just afraid? Is the subtitle of the movie. Perhaps the history is many people's nightmare, but just because it's painful, it absolutely should be remembered and passed to the future, and let the later generation learn a lesson and never do the same mistake we did. So it is the most significant value of history. We should keep in mind our freedom is from many sacrifice and hold a grateful heart. Someday, if our freedom is deprived, stand out and defend it.